You're going to need your notepad and pens for this. I am excited. I mean, that's my default setting, isn't it? I know. But to bring this next speaker on the stage, again, changes the game for every single person that interacts with him. Every single person that works with him, the game is changed for them. You know, we talked about automations, we talked about high level, we talked about autumn. And to talk to you, I'm not even going to give it away, I'm going to let him talk to you about it. He's an incredibly powerful speaker. He's been training for this event like an athlete. This is the final destination on, I think, a 12-gig tour over the past month alone. He's a joy to work with, both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. Make some noise, please, for the phenomenal Mr. Paul Green.
So, before we get started, I always like to make sure I'm in the same room before I talk to you. So, I would like to see a show of hands. I think I can just about see you all. Put your hand up if you are the kind of business owner who loves receiving cold calls from spammy salespeople. No? Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. Put your hand up if you are the kind of business owner who wants to learn how to force people to give you money in a really unethical way. Saw one over there. Shit. We might have the wrong keynote. Do we want to do this one? Should we do this one? How about who in this room wants to learn how to sell in a more ethical way without being a creep? And I'm going to teach you to do it using a tool you've already got in your pocket. Are we up for that one? Yes! Hey, that's slightly better. This is going to be an interactive session, so you're going to have to give me a little bit more than that. Are we up for doing this one? Yes! Perfect. Okay, we're going to talk about WhatsApp. I believe WhatsApp is the future of sales. So before we get started, we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. You guys up for a bit of an experiment? Good. Grab your phones for me. I'd like you to scan that QR code. And I want you to send me the word inside WhatsApp. Send me the word space. And I'm going to be able to see if you do it or not. So if you don't do it, we're not moving on. Got 18 minutes and 20 seconds. It's going to be a long keynote. We done it? We in? Someone's in. I can always tell if you're in because I get the laugh. I'm only here for the laugh, that's the only reason I'm here. Self-validation. Okay, that's the first part. Ready for the second part of the experiment? I want you to take a selfie. Not with the WhatsApp, with your camera. Open your camera, take a selfie. I'm going to come down for this. Try and get me in it. I want as many selfies as possible. Get selfies. Selfie. Hi. Everyone taking selfies? We get selfies. Taking selfies. Get them. Everyone get them? Hey, look, I can get with you lot. Hi. Oh, you can hear me, but I'm not there. He does keep moving. Okay, we done? Everyone taking a selfie? Okay, part 3 of this experiment. This is where you're going to see the absolute power of WhatsApp and why I think you should be using this as a sales tool in your business. I want you to open up WhatsApp. I want you to find either a friend or family member in WhatsApp, not me. You're not allowed to choose me. I want you to send them that selfie. There's always a slight groan from the room when I get people to do this. Send them that selfie with no context. And then if you get a response, I want you to just put your hand up for me so that I know you've I know that it's worked. The reason I get people to do this is you really start to see the absolute power of this tool and how you can use this in your business. The average response time for a WhatsApp message is 8 minutes. We've got one? I should have timed it. But the average response time to WhatsApp is 8 minutes. Does anybody know what the average response time is to an email? Forever if it's mine, because I just don't reply to them. 23 hours is the average response time to an email. So if you want to get your message into somebody's hand, WhatsApp is the best way to do it. 78% of the British population spend time on WhatsApp. But we've got to learn to do this properly, okay? We're not just going to use this to send people loads of spam. So, before we dive into the actual tactics of how you can use WhatsApp, we're going to play a little bit of a game. We're going to talk about shitty behaviour online. We're going to play shitty behaviour pantomime. Oh no, we're not. Hey! You with me? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some DMs that I've had recently. If you think it's a good DM, I want you to cheer. If you think it's a bad DM, I want you to boo it. Ready for it? We're going to play? Okay. What about this one? Would you like to check out my free community on school? It's all about AI business automations. Would I fuck? What about this one? Call us emojis. That's my favourite response so far. Are you looking for a virtual assistant to help you with tasks? What, like sales? What about this one? Hey, I've just released this free guide on fat loss. What about me was it that made them think, I know exactly who I'm going to send this to? I know exactly who needs this? You might not be able to read this one, but I think you can probably see. Don't we just love those question marks that people send? No, we do not like them. Are we ready for it? I really want to hear you, okay? I really want to hear massive cheer if this is a good DM, massive boo if this is not a good one. It's not a dick pic. What do we think? Guys, like, come to the Big Festoon, it's a friendly audience. Is it? I sent that. Not only did I send that, I sent that to 1,000 people on LinkedIn. Guess how many responses I got? Zero! Yes, I got none. It's a real problem though, right? Like, we're just seeing this all the time. The number of people that are like, oh, just if I give you more and more spam, the more times I try and message people, the more somebody's likely to respond to me. They don't do it. So what's missing right now? What is missing from this lovely online space that most of us love to play in? I believe it's conversations. Real, honest, genuine conversations where we actually get to know people, where we talk to people about what they're struggling with and we make genuine, relevant recommendations. Not just messaging someone and going, hey, I've got this amazing fat loss guide. I think you need it. I think I don't. Well, I mean, I might do. So we're going to use WhatsApp as a platform to have more conversations. This is why it was created. Meta created WhatsApp because they wanted a more conversational platform where we can hang around with our friends and our families. And if people are out there having these conversations with friends and family, if you can have the same types of conversations with your dream clients, you are going to become their most trusted advisor. And that's what we want. We want them to see you as the person that they trust more than anybody else in the world. So why me? Why am I the person who stood here talking to you? Well, until March 2020, this is my office. I'm a qualified commercial airline pilot. I flew for 12 years. And then in March 2020, can anybody remember that year? That really insignificant year in all of our lives. The airline that I was flying for at the time entered administration. And I lost my job overnight. I didn't get a redundancy because the money was frozen in the business. I wasn't furloughed. Literally my world collapsed around me. I wasn't allowed to sign on because they already said I had a job, even though I didn't have a job because of the way the redundancy worked. And my pension was frozen. So I was really stuck. I didn't really know what to do. So I had this amazing idea. and I'm hoping you're all going to agree with me that this was an amazing idea. I thought, what is it that people need right now? It's 2020, the world is collapsing around us. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a wellbeing business. Because nobody else had that idea during lockdown. I was the only one, I was the trailblazer. So I set up this business going, do you know what, like, cocky old pilot, I can go and talk to people about the stuff I've learned while I was flying. But I just need to get into one place. I need to open one door, test whether I've got a viable business, and then use that as proof of concept. So I sent those DMs. I sent 1,000 DMs into the NHS. So I was like, the NHS has got loads of money. At the time, the NHS were doing some work with a Formula One pit stop crew, and they were using the tactics that they'd learned in turning around cars in a pit stop for A&E. How fast can they turn beds around to try and get the waiting numbers down? So I was like, that's similar to flying an aeroplane, right? I can go in there and talk about being a pilot. Well, no, they didn't agree. I sent all those DMs, I didn't get a single response. Oh, thanks. I'm starting to forgive you. And so I decided to change tactics. I knew I just needed to get somebody to listen to me. So I did it with Lego. I created 100 Lego sets. I packaged them up. I put a QR code on the Lego sets, and I sent it recorded delivery into the NHS. And I said to them, I want you to take a picture of whatever model you create, and I want you to send it back to me. Within 14 days, I had 1,000 responses from key decision makers in the NHS. And I used it and I started having conversations with them. I started talking to them about what they were struggling with, what they really needed help with, and to see if there was a way I could maybe help and support them. Fast forward 6 months, and they offered me a £3 million contract to create a wellbeing programme for the NHS. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a wellbeing person. So I turned it down. It was my wife who's just as enthusiastic as you guys are about that decision. I realised that wasn't really what I wanted to do, but what I loved was the chase. I loved getting in there, I loved trying to get people to talk to me. So I then set up this business, and we started to create WhatsApp automations for people, and created my signature system called the Sales and Marketing Autopilot, and ultimately distilled it down to 2 key parts. And those are the 2 key parts I'm going to teach you over the next 9 minutes. So part 1 is we've got to create a space where people want to hang out with you. Because if they don't want to hang out with you, you're just a spammy dick on the internet shouting at people. And that's not what we're here for. So we've got to create a space where people have a sense of belonging, a space with purpose. So it's going to be somewhere that they trust. It's going to be somewhere that you can use to gain momentum. And somewhere where the conversations ultimately become scalable. So there's 3 parts to this. This is my conversation engine. See what I did there? Let's take off. So the first pillar in the conversation engine is safety. I think safety gets bandied around a lot. We use the term a lot about creating safe spaces for people to hang out. But this is true. If you don't feel safe talking to somebody, then you're never going to be able to have the kind of conversations that we want to have. Ultimately, we're talking about sales, so we want people to feel safe talking to us about money, about giving us their money, and how ultimately we can serve them. So when we create this space, we're talking about safe communication. So it has to be low pressure. We're not forcing them to come to you and talk to you. We want it to be high trust. And we want it to be permission-based. So think about that QR code I put up on the screen right at the very beginning. I didn't force any of you to scan it. Thanks for scanning it. But that was low pressure. I gave you the invitation to scan it and come and interact. It's high trust. I'm stood on stage. You can see me here talking to you. You know it's part of this experience. And it's permission-based. What we then want to do is position your WhatsApp as being something exclusive, something VIP, something where they're going to get something that they wouldn't get anywhere else. I actually have 2 names for my WhatsApp. I call it my WhatsApp Inner Circle, and I call it my WhatsApp True Room. And it depends how I talk to people, what stage I'm on, what interactions I'm having. But I'll say to people, come and hang out with me in Crew Room. If you've got questions after the session, come and ask me the questions inside Crew Room. And this is one of our clients, the International School of Bremen, and you can see there that we put the QR code on the bottom of the screen, or the bot on the bottom of the screen. So it's low pressure, high trust. People are going to initiate the conversation with them, rather than us kind of going out to them. Interestingly, we put this on their website. Within 14 days of that going live, they had 13 brand new inquiries, and that turned into 340,000 euros in additional revenue for the school. From people who wouldn't have normally reached out to them. Because we just gave them that channel, that safe space. You want to know more about the school, you want to know more about how we look after your children, this is where you come. So I want you to think about this. How do you create a trusted identity? What is your trusted identity? Where is the place that your people want to come and hang out? And when you nail that down, the more likely to come in, and that's where we start to create that first pillar of safety. The second part of this is connection, and you've heard loads of people today talking about connection. Both Danny and Brody talked about this earlier on. We really want to help build that connection. But what is connection? In the sense of this, in the sense of creating a space for them in WhatsApp where they want to come and hang out with you and ultimately give them your money, it's proximity, it's you spending time with them, and that ultimately becomes them investing money in you. So when we talk about proximity, do I actually feel like I'm speaking to you? How many times at the moment do you email a company and you get a response and you think to yourself, well, that's not you, is it? You've not just responded to that. Or what happens if you WhatsApp somebody and they send you a video back? Or if they send you a voice note back? That's them. That's creating proximity. And then if we can utilise technology, if we can utilise automation so that we can get back to them in a timely manner, then they're more likely to want to invest money with you. If you take anything away from listening to me today, it's this. Connection is ultimately what will turn attention into action every single time. We are in the AI world where social media is filled with just AI sludge. If somebody feels like they're connected to you, ultimately they're more likely to take action on the other side. And one of the reasons why I love WhatsApp is we can make it even more accessible. We can add in voice, we can add in video, we can do text, we can do images. We've got a client right now who runs her newsletters through WhatsApp. When you scan in, you go into her WhatsApp, it will say to you, do you want to read the newsletter, or do you want me to read it to you? So you can choose. You can have it as an audio book, or a voice note, or you can choose to read it. So it's super powerful. We can make this as accessible as possible by giving them the choice. So that's connection. When we nail down connection and safety, that's where we build the trust. So then the final part of this is technology. Utilising technology to make this as seamless as possible for you. Here's an interesting fact. Companies that can follow up with a lead within 5 minutes of them entering their database are 100 times more likely to turn them into a customer. Unfortunately, we live in a world now where speed is everything. I remember being told recently by somebody that you no longer have to be the best in business, you just have to be the fastest. That's the motto I live my entire life by. My wife is not happy with it. Just making sure you're still me. A few of you got it. But how fast can you follow up? How fast do you follow up with your leads? And in a really meaningful way. So if you're following up with your leads over email that has a 20% open rate, is that effective? What's the point? It's like me talking to these first 2 tables and nobody else being able to hear me. You've got to make sure that we're as effective as possible, and technology is going to really help you. WhatsApp, typically, we get around a 95% response rate to our WhatsApps at the moment. Imagine that. Imagine 95% of the people in your database actually heard your voice, actually got the messages that you're trying to send to them. It's a game changer. It means you don't need to spend time chasing more leads, getting more people to come into your pipeline, because you're just going to treat the people who are already there way, way better. So that's how it works. We've got safety, we've got connection, we've got technology, and when we put all of that together, that's what builds trust, momentum, and scalability. So that's part one. That's how we create a space where people ultimately want to come and have these conversations with us. Part two is when we turn this into a campaign. And a campaign is where we take somebody on a journey from they've never met you before all the way through to they're ready to buy. And we can apply the conversation engine to this as well. So somebody comes into your world, they come into your WhatsApp through a trigger. It could be a QR code, it could be a button on your website, so many different ways of doing this. But what we want to do is make sure that that very first message we send back creates safety, that it positions you as VIP, positions you as something exclusive. You imagine if I download your lead magnet and the first thing I get back is a video that says, hey, thank you so much for downloading the lead magnet, I really appreciate you. Let me know what questions you've got. How much more likely are people to reply to that than your really long 10-part email sequence that tells me about your entire life? People want short, sharp content that builds trust and that allows them to interact with you in this conversational way. Then we're going to start to ask them questions. Ask questions to build that connection. And then we can segment them so we know who we're talking to. We're entering a world now of smart selling, where people don't want to just be broadcast at and go, here's all the things I have to sell. Or how about if I ask you questions and I find out who you are, what you need help with, so that I can then sell better from there. And then the final thing is to encourage action. Make them an offer. That could be to book a call, it could be to download something, it could be to buy something. It doesn't really matter. We just want to encourage them to take action in some way, shape or form. How many of you have had a reply to your selfie? Yeah, quite a few of you. Did you know the number one response we normally get to this is, was that meant for me? How many of you have people in your database right now that like, maybe ghosting you? Got people ghosting you? If you've ever got anybody ghosting you, send them a selfie. Not replying. So if somebody ever ghosts you, if they're not replying to you, if you're trying to follow up with them and they're not responding, send them a selfie, and when they come back to you and say, what's that meant for me? Say yes, and so does the message I sent you before. Watch them respond. So if you think about this talk as the perfect example, we did the trigger at the beginning, I've talked to you about how you can position it, create safety, we've talked about how you can ask questions, how you can segment. It's time to make an offer. It's time to encourage you to take action. Ladies and gentlemen, please get your phones out one last time. Scan the QR code. I'd love to connect with you. And if you have any questions, either come and find me at the back of the room or WhatsApp me your questions. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Make some noise for the one and the only Mr. Paul Green.